Here in the Cape Fear, the Cameron Art Museum invites the community to celebrate the only sculpture park in the country created to honor the United States colored troops and their fight for freedom.
WWAY's Anique Joseph was there yesterday for the celebration.
It's a part of American history some say is omitted from school books, the heroes who won the battle on the grounds of what is now Cameron Art Museum.
This engagement here, right on these grounds, led decisively to the end of the American Civil War.
This was a battle site, and a lot of black soldiers forward here to push the Confederate soldiers out of Wilmington.
The opening of PNC United States Colored Troops Park now open to the public. The event featured speakers
to remind us again about the sacrifice that they gave to us at a time when it was not easy.
We are where we are because somebody helped us along the way.
And the man behind the sculpture stepping to the podium.
This artwork is here to serve a purpose, to connect generations and all cultures.
The park will now be a community space used for gatherings, field trips, classes, workshops, and storytelling. The Williston Alumni Choir's hymns evoking the pain and reality the colored troops faced, but their story they lived to tell.
I'm learning more history now of being in part of the Civil War than I did in high school and college.
We are singing the story of heroes who served and fought. This heroism is something that has been overlooked for far too long.
In February 1865, more than 1,800 colored troops went to battle. In Wilmington, Anique Joseph, WWAY News. The 1898 massacre was the culmination of a white supremacy campaign. A mob took over the streets, burned the African-American newspaper, The Daily Record, and killed an unknown number of African Americans. Countless others fled the city.
So you always want to acknowledge that history. Also, it still leaves a stain on Wilmington. It still permeates the social fabric of what happens here in Wilmington and has an impact on racial tensions and racial relations.
The 1898 Observance Committee held a lunchtime lesson on Thursday at the 1898 Memorial Park to give an opportunity for attendees to learn more about the Wilmington Massacre.
We find that a lot of people who were born and raised here in Wilmington didn't know anything about the 1898 insurrection.
Sometimes I think, well, have we talked about it enough? But as we sit here today, you hear people having lots and lots of questions who still don't know about it.
Alexander Manley was the owner and editor of the Daily Record in Wilmington during the 1898 massacre. Kieran Hale is Manley's great-great-grandson.
January 6th last year kind of proved that when enough people are in a particular mindset, they will take action.
What happened at the nation's capital left him in fear for the future.
That was one of the reasons why I wanted to get more involved and participate in the talks around this event.
Along with more events, including a play titled What the River Knows.
Brings everything into perspective, how these were real people. This happened to real people.
Hill says this moment in history is a story that needs to be told and repeated.
We can't dwell in the past, but understanding the past allows us to create a better future.
In Wilmington, Anique Joseph, WWAY News.
WWAY's Anique Joseph was there and has more on Thompson's legacy.
A final goodbye from the family and friends of Lela Thompson. A native of Darlington, South Carolina, Thompson's family later moved to Wilmington, and she pursued a Bachelor of Arts degree in education. Not only was Lela Thompson the first black female to graduate from UNCW, she was a wife, a mother, an educator, and also made a huge impact on her community. Sean Palmer is with the Upper African American Cultural Center at UNCW. He says Thompson encouraged many African Americans to pursue careers in film and the arts.
She was an advocate for the arts before it was popular to be an advocate for the arts.
She was also involved in the Willis Richardson Players, acting in the troupe and later serving as president for nearly 20 years.
Well, we are hoping that her legacy lives on. We're hoping that somebody will catch the light and they will take on her legacy and leadership in the community, and they will be the next leader and advocate for the arts.
Thompson taught in New Hanover County schools for 30 years.
This year is the 60th anniversary of Black Student Life. We had planned on bringing her to school to talk about her experiences, but unfortunately she passed.
But not gone from the hearts of many.
We are left with her legacy in the city as an arts educator and as an educator.
a legacy that will inspire generations to come. In Wilmington, Nick Joseph, WWAY News.
People gathered at a Wilmington church for a Gullah Geechee watch night and Emancipation Proclamation celebration. WWAY's Nick Joseph was there and brings us the story.
The day of celebration at the Warner Temple AME Zion Church. Watch Night Celebration Initiative Program Manager Angel Parsons says there were performers and speakers with North Carolina ties.
We were delighted to be able to actually have folks who are from North Carolina, culture keepers, to be a part of this program and support it.
The tradition started on December 31st, 1862, when enslaved Gullah Geechee people gathered in sacred spaces such as churches to await the new year that would signal the end of slavery by the Emancipation Proclamation.
We call it Freedom's Eve, and we call it that watch because they were waiting for the hour for January 1 to come because they knew that that would mark their freedom.
So we have to celebrate that day and the turning of the new year, where we're hoping there will be new blessings for our people and ourselves.
Also in attendance, performers and speakers from different backgrounds and religions.
It humbled me to be there and for me to stand there and give my wife's message and my little piece as well.
Leland Town Council member Veronica Carter is a member of the host church and has worked with people of Gullah Geechee descent for years and says it's important to preserve and protect the culture and heritage.
To be honored with the first Watch Night service, Freedom's Eve service in North Carolina is just remarkable.
Well, it's good to give more recognition to North Carolina, being that it's oftentimes overlooked as being a Gullah Geechee part of the corridor.
In Wilmington, Nick Joseph, WWAY News. The 2023 Emancipation Proclamation series, put on by the City of Wilmington's Commission on African American History, kicked off at St. Stephen's AME Church Saturday. Evelyn Adger chairs the Commission on African American History.
We talk about education, financial literacy, and family. So those are some of the things that we'll be touching on in the upcoming series.
The first installment, the church.
It's important because church is supposed to be the foundation of the community. And so somewhere along the line, what does that look like now, especially after the pandemic?
City leaders and pastors discussing the role churches play in the community.
It's very important that we talk about the history of these churches in our community and what they mean to the city of Wilmington.
I was so glad to be a part of this discussion. It shows the value that the Black church has in this community and how we're able to move forward.
We got to know our history, and the only way to keep abreast of what's going on, as far as the history and the Emancipation Proclamation, from which we came, is to have current events.
Events that help keep the public informed and connected to their history.
The first way to make the change is certainly to have the discussion and to keep talking to people within our community.
This is the beginning of our 6-month series.
One segment each month leading to the city's Juneteenth celebration for the series finale. In Wilmington, Nick Joseph, WWAY News.